"I want an heir from you," said the Apache woman to the shy farmer Ethan Moore, who had lived most of his life in quiet isolation, tucked away on a modest stretch of farmland at the edge of the Arizona desert. His home sat where the red cliffs met the endless horizon, where the wind sang through dry grass and the sun painted the sky in burning shades of gold and crimson each evening. The land was stubborn, much like Ethan himself, unyielding, weathered and shaped by years of hardship. He rose before dawn every day, worked until his muscles ached, and spoke only when necessary. People in the nearby town called him the Silent Farmer, not because he was rude, but because words had never come easily to him. He preferred the honest language of soil, seeds, and seasons. His farm had belonged to his grandfather, a man who believed that patience could tame even the harshest land. Ethan had inherited that belief, along with the worn farmhouse, the cracked barn, and the unshakable sense that his life would always be simple and solitary. He had never married, never even tried. The world beyond his fences felt too loud, too fast, too complicated. Out here among the wind and the dust he felt safe. Until the evening a stranger arrived. The sun was sinking behind the cliffs when Ethan noticed a figure standing near his fence line. At first, he thought it was a trick of the light, but as he drew closer, he saw her clearly, a tall woman wrapped in traditional Apache clothing, her dark hair braided with beads that glimmered in the fading light. Her posture was calm, steady, and powerful, as if the land itself had shaped her. She did not call out. She did not move. She simply waited. Ethan adjusted his hat and approached cautiously, unsure of what to expect. "Can I help you, ma'am?" he asked softly. Her eyes were sharp, deep, and thoughtful, carrying both strength and history. "My name is Naya Red Elk," she said. "This land once belonged to my people. I've come to speak with you." Ethan swallowed. He had heard stories about the Apache tribes and their deep spiritual connection to the land. He respected them, though he rarely crossed paths with them. "Please," he said, gesturing toward a wooden bench near the barn. "You're welcome to sit." They sat as the wind whispered through the tall grass. For a moment neither spoke. Then Naya began telling him about her tribe, about traditions, passed down through generations, about the struggle to preserve their culture in a changing world, and about the fear that their bloodline was slowly fading. "Our people are becoming fewer," she said. "The old ways are being forgotten." Ethan listened quietly, his hands resting on his knees. "I'm just a farmer," he finally said. "I don't know much about history." Naya studied him carefully. "Strength does not always shout," she said. "Sometimes it whispers." The desert grew still. Even the wind seemed to pause. Then she spoke the words that changed everything. "I want an heir from you." Ethan froze. His heart thudded in his chest like a wild drum. I don't understand," he stammered, his face burning. "My people need a future," Naya said calmly. "You are honest, healthy, and respectful. The spirits do not choose loudly. They choose wisely." Ethan stood up, pacing in disbelief. I'm not the kind of man who—" He stopped, struggling for words. Naya remained seated, her expression steady. "I'm not asking for passion," she said. "I am asking for purpose." Days passed after that conversation, yet Naya did not leave. She helped around the farm, learning Ethan's routines, feeding the animals and repairing fences. In the evenings, she shared stories of Apache legends by the fire. Ethan found himself talking more than he ever had before. For the first time in his life, silence felt unnecessary. One night, under a sky filled with ancient stars, Naya spoke again. "An heir is not just a child," she said. "It is a bridge between worlds." Ethan looked at her, no longer afraid. "Then let's build that bridge together," he said. The desert wind carried his words into the night. As if the land itself had heard and approved, the desert felt different after. Naya stayed. Where silence once ruled, a quiet warmth now lived. Where loneliness had shaped Ethan's days, shared purpose began to take root. Morning chores became moments of teamwork. Evening fires turned into storytelling circles. The shy farmer, who once spoke only to his crops, now found himself laughing, listening and learning. Naya taught Ethan the old Apache ways, how the land was not just soil, but spirit. How every sunrise was a blessing and every storm a lesson. In return, Ethan showed her how to coax life from stubborn ground, how patience could turn dust into harvest. Their bond was not rushed by desire. It was built through trust. Months passed like gentle winds through tall grass. Then one quiet morning, Naya stood at the edge of the fields, her hand resting over her heart. "Our future is growing," she said softly. Ethan froze. "You mean—" His voice barely carried. She nodded. The shy farmer sank onto the porch steps, overwhelmed by emotion. "I don't know if I'm ready," he whispered. "No parent ever is," Naya replied. "But love prepares us." Word spread quickly. Some townsfolk whispered. Some Apache elders watched carefully. Two worlds were colliding, not through conflict, but through hope. When the child was born, the desert skies glowed crimson, as if honoring the moment. Ethan held the baby with trembling hands. "He carries both our paths," Naya said. The Apache elders blessed the child with sacred words, while Ethan promised to raise him with honesty and strength. "What should we name him?" Ethan asked. Naya smiled. "Dakota, meaning friend, because he will unite, not divide." Years passed and Dakota grew strong. He learned to ride horses across open plains and plant seeds in dry soil. He learned Apache stories by firelight and farmer, wisdom by sunrise. He belonged to both worlds, and neither could claim him alone. One evening, as the sun melted into the red cliffs, Ethan stood beside Naya and their son. "I was just a shy farmer," he said quietly. "But life doesn't ask who you are. It asks who you're willing to become." Naya rested her hand on his shoulder. Their story was never about desire. It was about legacy, never about passion, only purpose. And in the heart of the desert, a new future stood tall, rooted in respect, unity, and love. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more powerful, emotional stories every week.